All right, so get this. We're diving into Bitcoin,
Bitcoin.
but not like the usual, buy low, sell high stuff.
Right.
We're talking about a company called MicroStrategy.
Okay.
And they're this company that's kind of becoming like a Bitcoin bank.
Like a Bitcoin bank.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case study.
For sure. MicroStrategy, they used to be known for enterprise software solutions.
Yeah.
Like a very different world.
Totally.
And then they went all in on Bitcoin.
Yeah, in a big way.
Yeah.
And it's really captured a lot of attention on Wall Street and in the tech world.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, their stock price reflects that it's skyrocketed, I think, over 400% this year.
It's incredible.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you can see why investors are kind of looking at this as a backdoor way to get into Bitcoin.
Like a proxy.
Exactly. They're using MicroStrategy stock as a proxy for investing in Bitcoin directly.
Which is really interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you wanted to invest in gold, but instead of buying, gold bars,
right,
you bought shares in a company that owns a bunch of gold mines.
I see.
That's essentially what's happening here.
So let's break down how they're doing this, because
Yeah.
people are calling it like the infinite money glitch,
Yeah.
which sounds a little
It's a catchy name.
like a video game
Right.
cheat code.
But there is a logic to it,
Okay.
even if it sounds a bit out there.
Okay.
So essentially, they've created this self-reinforcing cycle
Okay.
where their stock price goes up. They use that momentum to raise more money. They buy more Bitcoin,
I see.
which pushes the price up even further. And they just keep repeating that process.
So it's all kind of tied together.
Exactly.
But it does make me wonder about the sustainability of that.
Sure.
Like, couldn't something disrupt this cycle?
Oh, absolutely.
What if regulators step in?
Right. Well, that's
And then change the rules?
the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And you're right, there are some potential weaknesses to this approach.
Okay.
Regulation is definitely one of them.
Oh.
Because the regulatory landscape is constantly changing.
Right.
And a sudden shift could definitely throw a wrench in the works.
Makes me think, are there any parallels?
Yeah.
Like historically,
Yeah.
have we seen this kind of financial maneuvering before?
There are echoes of past strategies
Okay.
that have relied on leverage and market sentiment.
Okay.
You think about the dot-com bubble in the late 90s,
Right.
where you had companies with these sky-high valuations,
Yeah.
but maybe not the most solid business models.
Yeah.
There are some similarities there,
Okay.
but it's not a perfect analogy.
Okay, so maybe history doesn't give us a perfect roadmap here.
Right.
But let's talk about these convertible bonds, because I think that's kind of the fuel
The fuel for the fire.
for this infinite money glitch.
Exactly. And those can be a little bit complicated to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
So imagine a bond and a stock had a baby.
Okay.
That's kind of what a convertible bond is.
All right.
It acts like a regular bond.
Mm-hmm.
It pays interest, but it gives the holder the option to convert that bond into company stock
Interesting.
if the share price hits a certain level.
Okay.
So MicroStrategy issued a $3 billion convertible bond
Wow.
at a 0% interest rate.
Wait.
Pretty remarkable.
0% interest rate.
It's like free money.
Is there a catch?
Well, there's always a catch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the bondholders are taking a calculated risk.
Okay.
They're betting that MicroStrategy's stock price is going to keep going up,
Okay.
allowing them to convert their bonds into stock at a profit.
I see.
But if the stock price tanks,
Right.
they're stuck with this bond that's not generating any interest.
Got it. So it's a gamble
It is.
on both sides.
For both sides.
Because MicroStrategy, they get all this cash.
Right. Tons of cash to buy more Bitcoin.
You buy more Bitcoin, but if the stock price doesn't stay high,
Yeah, exactly.
then they're in trouble.
Yeah. And then the bondholders are like,
Right. They're betting on the success of this infinite money glitch.
yeah,
It's high stakes all around.
high stakes indeed. Yeah. And I think this maneuver raises some very interesting questions.
It does.
Like, what if the stock price does fall?
Right. How are they going to repay those bonds?
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big question mark.
It's not infinite money if the stock price goes down.
Right. Exactly.
We'll have to dive into those risks and the potential consequences
Absolutely.
after a quick break.
Sounds good.
So we've talked about the infinite money glitch and convertible bonds and kind of hinted at some risks.
Yeah. We've laid the groundwork.
Yeah, but I want to kind of zoom out a little bit
Sure.
and think about like the bigger picture here.
Okay. Yeah.
What are the long-term implications of all this? Is MicroStrategy a trailblazer
Right.
Or are they like a cautionary tale in the making?
It's a question a lot of people are asking.
Yeah.
You know, analysts, investors, everybody's kind of watching this closely because they're pushing the boundaries
Yeah.
of traditional finance.
Yeah, they're betting the farm, essentially.
They are, yeah. And on a very volatile asset class.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is a little scary.
It is risky, yeah.
It's one thing for like an individual to do that.
Right.
But for a publicly traded company,
Yeah. It raises a lot of questions.
like what happens if Bitcoin crashes?
Right. What safeguards are in place?
Yeah.
Well, the potential downsides are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, if Bitcoin's price were to really plummet,
Right.
it would have a ripple effect throughout their whole financial structure.
Yeah, because they've taken on billions in debt.
Billions, yeah, to fund these Bitcoin purchases.
So that debt's going to be there,
It is.
regardless of what Bitcoin does.
Exactly. And if the price drops significantly,
Yeah.
it could really hurt their ability to repay that debt.
And then wouldn't that also shake investor confidence?
Oh, absolutely.
Which seems to be the key to this whole
Right. It's all built on that confidence.
infinite money glitch.
Yeah. If that crumbles,
Yeah.
the whole thing could unravel.
So is there anything historically that we can look to?
Yeah, it's tough to find a direct comparison.
You know, there are companies that have taken on a lot of debt
Okay.
for acquisitions or investments.
Sure.
But the scale of this
Yeah.
and the fact that it's all tied to Bitcoin
Right.
makes it really unique.
So let's say, hypothetically, Bitcoin does crash.
Okay.
What could they do?
Right.
Could they, like, go back to their software business?
It's hard to say.
Okay.
I mean, they've invested so much in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It'd be really tough to just reverse course.
Okay.
They'd probably lose a ton of money
Right.
if they tried to sell all their Bitcoin in a bear market.
Right.
And going back to software
Yeah.
might not be easy either.
Yeah, the tech world moves pretty fast.
It does, yeah. And they'd be facing some tough competition.
Hey, they're kind of stuck.
They've kind of committed to this path.
Yeah, but what about the bigger implications?
For the financial world,
Yeah.
right?
Are we going to see other companies follow their lead?
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? Is this the start of a trend?
Right.
Or is this a one-off? You know, MicroStrategy is kind of a test case.
Right.
If they're successful,
Yeah.
it could encourage others to jump in.
Right.
But if they fail,
It's a warning sign.
exactly, a cautionary tale.
It's almost like a real-time experiment.
Yeah, in the evolution of finance,
Right.
we're watching it unfold.
And we haven't even talked about.
What could happen in the crypto space itself?
Yeah, what if some new crypto comes out?
Right. What if Ethereum takes over?
Or there's some new technology?
Exactly. The landscape is always changing.
Right, and MicroStrategy is all in on Bitcoin,
Yeah, they've put all their eggs in one basket.
which is risky.
It is very risky.
But what about the investors?
The people buying into this strategy.
Yeah. Do they understand the risks?
I think it's a mix.
Okay.
You know, some investors are very sophisticated. They
Yeah.
understand what they're getting into.
Sure.
They know it's a high-risk, high-reward situation.
Right.
But others might be getting caught up in the hype.
Right. The FOMO.
Exactly. The fear of missing out. That can lead to bad decisions.
So for our listener,
Someone who's maybe intrigued by this story.
yeah, but a little overwhelmed by the details.
Right.
What are some key takeaways?
Well, I think the most important thing
Yeah.
is to remember that investing always has risks,
Right.
especially with something as volatile as crypto.
Yeah.
So before you invest in anything,
Yeah.
do your research, understand the fundamentals,
Right.
and really assess your own risk tolerance.
Okay.
Don't just blindly follow the hype.
Right.
Make sure you're comfortable with the potential downsides
Oh, okay.
before you jump in.
That's good advice.
Yeah, it applies to any investment, really.
Yeah, but especially here with MicroStrategy.
Right, because the stakes are so high.
So don't just FOMO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence.
Okay.
And remember, the financial world is always changing.
Right.
What's revolutionary today
Yeah.
could be old news tomorrow.
Or completely gone.
Exactly. So stay informed, be critical,
Okay.
and always be willing to learn and adapt.
You know, it's just crazy to think that a company that was doing enterprise software is now like leading this charge.
Yeah. It really shows you how fast things change,
Absolutely.
especially in finance.
Yeah, and it makes you think about like the future of money itself.
Right. Like, are we heading towards a world where Bitcoin,
Takes over.
yeah, becomes the main currency?
Or do we think it's going to be more like,
Coexisting
yeah, coexistence?
with the traditional stuff.
Yeah, and there are definitely strong opinions on both sides.
Oh, absolutely.
Some people think crypto is like
The future?
the future. Yeah, it's inevitable.
Right, because it's decentralized.
More secure.
Potentially could revolutionize how we do transactions.
Yeah, but then you have the other side that's like,
Yeah, they're saying it's too volatile.
Way too volatile.
Not enough people are using it,
Right.
and there's a lot of regulatory hurdles.
Yeah, governments aren't going to give up control that easily.
Exactly. They want to be in charge of monetary policy.
So it's a tough question.
It is.
Like, there's no easy answer.
Not at all.
But it is clear that crypto is, like, shaking things up.
It is definitely a disruptor.
Yeah, and MicroStrategy is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. They're right at the forefront.
It's like a bold move.
Very bold.
High stakes.
Extremely high stakes.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's, like, the main thing you want our listener to walk away with?
I think the big takeaway here is that we're in the middle of a huge shift in finance.
Yeah.
Crypto, blockchain, decentralized finance.
All this new stuff.
Yeah, it's changing everything.
And challenging the old ways.
Exactly. And regardless of what happens with MicroStrategy,
Right.
their story shows us that the future of finance,
It's going to look different.
yeah,
It's very different.
it's exciting,
It is exciting.
but also kind of scary.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty.
But I think the key is just to stay informed.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power.
Learn as much as you can.
Yeah, and stay curious.
Because this is just the beginning.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
So buckle up.
It's going to be a wild ride. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time